It is Country Viewpoint here on Flow FM, and for all of our ripping listeners around the wonderful electorate of Ripon, yes, she's giggling already. I've got the MP for your area, of course. Also, the Shadow Treasurer MP Louise Staley joins me on the line. Louise, welcome back to Country Viewpoint. How are you?
Very, very well, thanks, Jason. That is a cracking introduction you give me.
I love hearing your giggling voice. It's always great to chat to you. And look, we've got the good and the bad to talk about today. We've got a really good project that needs some money, and unfortunately the bad is the fact that it's not getting any. Now, you've been driving across a big chunk of your electorate today, and part of the places, or one of the places you've been, is Charlton. Now, tell us, why were you in Charlton today?
I was in Charlton because the traffic school there, TARTSEC, which teaches 15 and 16-year-old kids from across the whole region, not just from Charlton, how to drive safely in a controlled environment, desperately needs some funding, and they've been campaigning for years. I've been trying to help them for years, and we're just having another crack because we understand that there's a new round of funding opening in early August, and really, I'm saying to the state government, this is a great organisation. It's been running for 30 years. It just needs a new building. In the scheme of things, it's not that expensive, but it's well out of what the organisation itself can raise. And it does great work. And really, the government should step up. You know, it's a road safety thing for the whole region.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the work that it does, first of all. So it's a traffic school for youngsters who are about to get their licence. That's effectively what we're talking about here. But it goes beyond that as well. It teaches the youngsters in the lead up to the point where they can get their licence. Is that right?
That's right. So it does both the written side and the practical side. For most of the kids that don't come off farms and who might have therefore been driving across the paddocks for some time. But for most kids, it's the first time they've ever been in a car.
Yep.
And they get taught how to drive safely, how to check your mirrors, all of that sort of thing. It's a manual car. They're manual cars, so they learn to drive a manual. And it's a controlled environment. Like they have a roundabout there and they have traffic lights. And so they get to see all different types of road conditions and where different road rules would come in, but it's in a safe place. And they've been going 30 years. Their only building is Charlton's old police station, which I think is a weatherboard. Well, it is weatherboard. I think it's from about the 50s.
Yep.
And it's too small. It's inadequate. They just want just a better place to be able to do the written side of the education and keep this going for another 30 years.
Louise,
it's a great institution.
Fantastic institution, doing great work, and there should be more of these out there in regional and rural areas. How much do they need to fix that building up, Louise? Are we talking millions of dollars here?
No. We're talking under $400,000.
Oh, come on.
The building that they want is it's a prefab building that gets dropped in effectively, and it's not a lot of money, not in the scheme of things, not for how long it'll last, and we're just really calling on the state government, given that they're opening another round of funding that this would be eligible for, and they applied last time, didn't get it. They've applied in other ways to get money, and they just can't get the funding. As I say, in the scheme of things, this is not a lot of money that it provides a big benefit for not just the young people themselves, but for all of us who want all the drivers around us to be safe.
Yeah, spot on. Like I said, I think there should be more of these types of facilities in country areas than just what we've got here. I mean, I know there is in Victoria, but gee whiz, these should be rolled out in all states. I think they're fantastic. Controlled conditions, as you say. The best thing about it is kids from disadvantaged backgrounds who may not have mum and dad to lean on for driving lessons. All of a sudden, they're on an equal playing field. Great opportunities for employment out of it as well. So it ticks a lot of boxes. I can't understand why we can't find $400,000 for this. What has the Road Safety Minister said so far, if anything?
Well, when I've raised it before, I get usual platitudes of, we'll make decisions about the budget in the upcoming, months and whatever, or yes, I'm sorry, you were not successful in this round. You can apply in the next round.
Yeah.
Well, in other words, it's just the gumph. It's certainly not the money.
Oh, gee whiz. I imagine you'd have plenty of support, not just from local schools, but I would imagine councils would be on board with this as well, wouldn't they?
Yes. So council's on board. This organisation attracts a lot of community support. So the cars, for example, that the kids are driving, they've all got sponsorship from different organisations like the local Bendigo Bank branch. Really, the community supports this really strongly, and they just have no way, though, of coming up with that money for that capital project. So it does enjoy huge community support to keep it going. And as you say, it provides an opportunity for kids that wouldn't otherwise have that chance. And if you live in the country, you've got to have your licence. It's really impossible to live here without it. And so this is really opening up opportunities for our young people, and it's been doing it for 30 years, really on the smell of an oily rag. And they could just do with this building.
How do we put some pressure on the government to make this happen? Obviously, the powers that be will pull out the grant application as per normal and go through the appropriate channels. But for those listening across your wonderful electorate and those around who use this facility, how do we go about putting some pressure on the government to get this happening?
Well, I'm planning to raise it in the Parliament when we go back. We'll certainly, as you say, be putting in the application form in the next round, which opens in early August. But if locals really could get behind the schools, like go through the schools, because they really support this, and get their schools in there writing to the Education Minister saying, we really want that, that will really help. That will make a difference.
Love it.
Or I hope it will.
Yeah. Well, I've got no doubt it will. So we want as many letters through the schools as possible to ministers just to say, hey, listen, what about us? This is a fantastic program that needs its support. So, Louise, thank you for joining us. Before we let you go, actually, you're on the road, as I mentioned, and drive safely while we're talking about that topic. But where have you been beyond Charlton, and what's coming up in the next couple of days for you?
Well, I started this morning in Melbourne, so it was Melbourne, Charlton, and then it's Charlton, Ararat, and then tonight it'll be Warborough, where the big electricity towers project is continuing to generate a lot of community opposition. So I'll be there, and then I've got a mental blank on what I'm doing tomorrow, but I can tell you on Friday I'll be back in that part of the region meeting with the potato growers of that region and talking to them about this big power lines project that's going through their farms.
When we talk next time, we will have to go through more detail on that, but just the short version of it. Clearly, and we've seen this before, obviously the producers in that area are just not getting listened to about where these power lines are going to end up going, and they're just going to basically go through their paddocks. Is that about right?
That about sums it up.
Yep.
It started with straight lines on a map, and they're now slightly less straight, but they're still going from point A to point B, irrespective of what's in the middle. And what's in the middle is the most productive potato growing region in Australia.
That sounds like par for the course. Gee whiz. So, all right, we will talk in more detail about that next time. Until then, drive safely and please support Louise's campaign to get some funding for this wonderful, wonderful group that do some great work with our young drivers across the region. Thanks, Louise. We'll catch up with you next time.
Great to talk with you.